This is Love and Sparkles. I'm bringing my I made me some sun tea, so I'm bringing in my sun tea. Come on, get in there. And bringing in my herd because it's already hot outside. I put the sun tea in the fridge so it can start cooling off. Because it's just hot. We went from being 70 degrees and pouring down rain every time you looked at it to now it is 90, 91, which is not bad. 90, 91 is fine. But then you add in 80, 90% humidity, and you're talking 96, 97 degrees. Everything you're wearing is stuck to you. It's just really nasty. Really nasty. So I'm going to show y'all my projects. Phoenix and Fantasy. Guys, Phoenix and Fantasy. Almost. Let's see if I can get it in there. That's all I got left. It's right down there at the bottom. And this is how I work on them. I have work on everything rolled up. And then my Autism Awareness Month so far has added all this. And I got this little area right here to finish, and then I'll be in the next row. So that's my two projects. I don't know if y'all know this, but the new movie, The Lost City, is streaming on Paramount Plus. And it's a really funny movie, guys. It is worth the watch. And I have had an awesome week. Saturday, what did we do Saturday? Saturday, my son came up with his family and they took me out to dinner and he mowed my lawn, and that's when we checked the rocks. And I'm going to tell you our story about the restaurant. I did really good. Friends I've told it to are like, we would have lost it. Okay, they take me to this restaurant. The one we wanted to go to is shut down right now because the grocery store that was there got bought out, and they bought the restaurant out, and they're just expanding it all the way to down. So they had to move. They're in another whole spot. And so we get there. Make sure I'm on tower, because I know Nick's told me to make sure I'm on tower when I do this. But so we're like, wow. And so we start looking, we finally find a Mexican restaurant because we all wanted Mexican. And we get there. And we're pretty much the first ones in this restaurant. And so we're like, oh, that's cool, chill. And we get in there and we sit down, we get our, order our drinks. And I ordered, because I knew what I want. I always get the same thing. I always get the molcajete. And then, like my son got his order and the grandkids got theirs. And my daughter-in-law was like, I'm going to need a few minutes. I don't know what I want. And so like an hour later, they haven't come back to see if she still has some of her, to get her order. By now, 5 people and just the one little thing of chips and salsa, it's done gone. So, and I kept saying, well, get her attention. And they're like, well, we can't. She looks at us and like turns around and ignores us. So I finally, I get up and I walk over to her. I just go where she's at. And I'm like, let me see if I can put my banner up there. I mean, it's like, I go where she's at. There we go. I'm like, okay, she needs to order. We need, some more of the chips and salsa. This woman gives me a look like I need to crawl on the ground and go away because just have put too much work on her. And well, her boss, saw me go over there and he was just like, "What's wrong?" And she's like, "Nothing. They're just, needing some stuff." I was like, "Okay." So she stopped. She goes, what do you want to order?" And so she does her order. Okay. And by now, a baseball team has come in from the town. They get set, they get their orders. We're still, we're being really nice. But by now, they've figured out they need to bring us chips and salsa because so far that's been our dinner. And you're going to love this, guys. She comes over and slaps food in front of me. And I'm looking at it like, what is this? Because it wasn't what I ordered. And then she goes, "Well, who ordered this?" And I looked at her and I said, "Ma'am, no one ordered that. And I don't think this is mine because I ordered, and said molcajete." And so she's like, "Oh, I know where this goes." And she picks that plate out from up in front of me where it's been sitting now for about 3 minutes. We're talking over it. I know where these go. And she picks them up and takes them to that person's table. Now, if I've been that person and you have taken my food and slapped it down at another table and put it in front of people at another table, there is no way on God's green earth that I would have ate it, especially with the way the world is now. I mean, I don't even think you were supposed to do that back when the world was good, much less now. And so I was just like, I cannot believe she just did that. And so she takes off and she comes back in about another 30 minutes. We still haven't gotten our food, haven't gotten a refill on our drinks, nothing. And so we're like, okay, this is interesting. And she comes over and she says, "Well, have you enjoyed your food?" And I literally looked at her and said, "What food? We haven't got our food yet." And so she disappears again. She's great at disappearing. She disappeared again. And then she comes back and she's got the cashier lady with her. And the cashier lady's like, "So y'all haven't gotten your food?" And we're like, "No, it's been, going on a little over 2 hours. And no, all we've had is chips and salsa." And so she's looking at that girl and she's flipping through all her papers. And she's like, "I know I ordered their food. I gave it to them. I don't know why they don't have food." And I mean, we're being really nice, guys. We really are. No one's yelling. No one's being crybaby, nothing. And so the cashier was just like, "Okay." She goes, "I need all the orders again." And I was just like, "It's still only one price, right?" And she's like, "Yes, it's only one price, but all the orders again." And so it was like, okay. So we all give our orders again. Now, remember, guys, this has been over 2 hours. And so now we're rocking on about 2.5 hours still waiting for our food, but now they're actually cooking it. And so I happened to look down. There was a napkin on the ground and there was a piece of paper. And so I got up and I picked up a piece of paper and I turned it over and I saw molcajete. It's the first thing. And I said, "Okay, this has got to be our order." Not very many people order that. And so I went up to her and I said, "I think this is what you all were looking for." And she snatches it from me and kind of crumps it up, throws it in the corner and says, "Thank you." And then she's digging around, digging in the purse. We still haven't got our order yet. Still haven't got our order. And then she grabs her keys and she leaves. So my daughter was like, she must be going on a smoke break or taking a break or something. And I was like, probably. So we had been there by a little over 3 hours and we finally start getting piecemeal parts of our orders. And everyone, all the workers in the restaurant are trying to avoid us now because we've been there for over 3 hours and we're just now getting our food. And we've been pretty much ignored, not talked to. Very interesting experience. And so we finally get all the kids, settled down, started to eat. And it's pretty bad when a 15-year-old and a 7-year-old are sitting there going, "Are we going to be able to get our food before they close?" Because we've been there for 3 hours. And so we were there for an hour, almost 4 hours, 3 hours and 45 minutes. And my daughter-in-law, she works for food industry, and she goes, "I'm going to go pay this because we are going to get a discount." She goes, "This is ridiculous." So she went up there, and the manager was up there, and she's like, "We need something, in compensation." And he told her, he said, "Well, ma'am, I took $15 off y'all's total order." He said, "And we have fired the waitress." He goes, and she was like, "Well, we didn't want her fired." And he said, "No, no, no, no." He said, "Tonight, yours was not the only, evidently the baseball team she was handing out different orders to the wrong people. So he said, y'all weren't the only ones that was totally messed up tonight. And I said, okay. So he said, she's been here for 3 weeks, has not made any improvement. So we let her go. And I mean, they let her go in the middle of a shift within a completely packed restaurant where, like, I guess all the baseball teams had gotten done. They just loaded up the bus and brought them over there. But since then, I have found out the restaurant we were wanting to go. I found where they're going. They're not open yet, but I will be so thankful when they will. But that was very interesting. We did really good. No one yelled. No one screamed. No one made a scene. I just told my daughter when I was telling her and her husband about it, and I looked at my son-in-law and I said, "Now you would have lost your stuff. You would have been hanging from the rafters." And when I told him what happened, my daughter said, "You're right. He would have." And he'd had his first beer, and when that started going on, everybody in that restaurant would have known what was going on at y'all's table. And I was like, "Yep, you're right." So that was our Saturday. And then Sunday, I went with my daughter down to her husband's fish fry to see his grandmother. I guess she's like in her 90s. So I am in the back of a van, like the third row seating of a van. Let me tell you, when you ride in that third row seat, it is like riding on an amusement ride. And it bruised my right hip. I mean, for the last 2 days, it's like I have been miserable. My right hip hurts. It bruised it, and then I've been favoring it, so then it makes other things hurt. It has been crazy, guys. Okay, now I'm gonna go see if I can tag a few people. So I'm not gone. I'm just gonna go see if I can tag people. Okay, see if I can find out what the link for this is. And is that the link? So it was really an interesting night. Okay, so I'm not gone, guys. I promise. I'm just gonna try to get over to Facebook and put a tag here. So that people can know to come in here. And I'm gonna try to go over to here and put a tag here. Just so that they know I'm going live. And then we'll go back to where we were at. Yeah, there, I'm back. And so that was Saturday, that was Sunday. I mean, I've had a great week. So Saturday night, we did our last post in Phoenix and Fantasy. I'm back. Hi, come on. In the Phoenix and Fantasy, and they did the wheel for it. I think there was like 88 people on this wheel, but they did the wheel. And so we're but they did the wheel. Okay, and Monday I went with my granddaughter because she had a ceremony for the most, what was it, cookie sales, the most this, the most that, most this, that. So I went with them to that. And I'm gonna try this, guys. Do it this way. But so I went with her for that. And can y'all see me now? Is that better? Hi, Pommy. Hi. And so I went with her to the ceremony. And this was really cool, guys. I mean, she got like 2 awards, a patch from the CEO. I'm trying to figure out where I can get this straight. And a patch from the CEO of the Girl Scouts for the state. So it was really, really cool. And so we went and did that. And I'm sitting there, and of course, the drawing live's coming on. And I told my daughter, I said, "Oh, I never win anything. Never win anything. So that's all right. We're chill. Let's watch it in replay, and sit down. I'll watch replay." And so we're doing the ceremony. And the coolest thing, guys, and I have a video with it, so it pops up in there. There is a girl and this was like, oh God, how long ago was it? Maybe 15 years ago? 15, 20 years ago? At least 15. That when she was straight out of nursing school, I mean, she had just graduated, and I had decided to go to the back where they do all the back surgeries and throat surgeries and all that. And I've always told the story. I mean, I know I've told it at least once, where they left me and her on the floor with 18 brand new surgery patients as the only two nurses for a 12-hour shift. And she said, yeah. She goes, I remember that. She goes, that was has been, and she's been a nurse now for, God, forever. I mean, I would say she has been a nurse, well, at least 12, 13 years. And she goes, yeah, that has been the entire worst, absolute worst of my entire nursing career. So that was her worst night of her nursing career. And if anyone wants to come in here, I'm just wanting to hang. So if you want to come in and talk, let me know, and I'll try to figure out how to make links and send you out a guest link. But she was like, yeah, that has been the entire worst night of my entire nursing career. And I said, yeah, I know it was. And I said, yeah. I said, and that's the only time I've ever was worried I might not have a job in the morning. She looked at me and I said, yeah, remember what I was always saying I could do, but I didn't do when it was really nasty? She goes, yeah, the union thing. I said, well, yeah, our manager that night told me if I really knew how to do it, do it. I said, that's why manager or supervisors and we were getting all the phone calls that night. I said, because I notified when you notify the union, the way it goes is you call the union rep, and then start calling people, and you call a physician and get a physician involved. And when you work with these men, because we didn't have any female back surgeries back then, but when you work with these men and you're going to be calling them at 10:30 at night, 11 o'clock at night, you know which one's going to really flip their gourd. 8 a.m. Well, you have a great day. But so you know who's going to really flip their gourd, who's going to be nice, who's going to whatever. Well, I knew these doctors, so I knew which one to call. I knew who was going to have the biggest fit about all of his fresh surgery patients only having two nurses for the entire floor, one of them being a month out of school. And he was like, you are joking. And I said, no, I'm not. I said, they had brought in someone that was going to come over here at 11. And so our manager was going to stay till 11. I said, but they have since took that person and put it on another floor because that doctor would get mad if his nurses had that many of his patients. And he's like, okay, I mean, making some phone calls. So I don't know who all he called, but by the time the night was over, the CEO was involved, the CNO was involved, the union reps were involved, the supervisor had to come over and help assist on the floor. And she was like, well, what's our goal for the night? I said, our goal for the night is that everybody is still here breathing in the morning. You know, when you've got 18 patients, two nurses, one's only been a nurse for, a month maybe. I said, our goal is that everyone gets their meds and everyone is still breathing. So yeah, she was like, but to this date, that is still my worst night in nursing. Hi, Michelle. I hope you're feeling better, honey. I can't wait to get my packages. And so that was why I was there. And then we had just walked in the door. I sat down and Nick sent me a page and she's like, hey girl, you won. And so I was like, let me go look. And she was like, you won, go look. So I was like looking at, and I was like, realized I had won the wheel draw on, now guys, I have won 3 wheel draws this week. So I'm so glad for you. I'm not stepping outside. This weather out here has like lost its ever freaking crazy mind. And so I was sitting there, and my poor daughter, because when I saw I won, I literally was grabbing her arm, jumping up down, screaming. She thought, yes, and I won the pen. I scared my dad half to death with that pen because I don't know what it is about that pen, but that pen was talking to me. It was like, I want to be yours. I'm yours. And so, cause I never them for him. I never him. And so I was sitting over checking on my dad yesterday because yesterday was our 3-year anniversary of my mom. And so I went over to check on him because he wasn't looking real happy, you know, and I did all my stuff with it the week before. And so I'm sitting there with him, and it popped through that I won that pin. And I was like jumping up and down and hooting and hollering, screaming. He's like looking for the wasp because that's how I asked when a wasp is around. And I was like, oh, I won. And then last night in whose live was it? Rose's live. I won an autism sticker. So I was like, I don't know, man. I've won 3 wheel draws in 3 days. It's beautiful. It just talked to me, and it's got that little touch of blue, and you roll it. My daughter was like, I cannot. I said, hey, I'm gonna go dig out a credit card because that's going on a credit card. And I mean, it was like I did. I went and dug and found. I mean, I don't really buy a lot of my credit cards because I'm trying to pay them off, so I knew which ones had money on them, and I went and put that little puppy on a credit card. And then last night I won the autism wheel. But I was like, in a 3-day stretch, I won 3 dang things. I know. It's like really, it's been really weird because you know, I'm relearning my path. And in relearning my path, I figured out which goddess I wanted to work with because I had a dream. And I was trying to find, you know, which animals to associate with. Well, I'll be darned. My dad, I've lived over here 10 years. My dad's outside dog has decided it's going to break in my house. I was on the phone with Nix at like 2 a.m, and I started screaming because I thought it was a stuff guy. She's got this little white black snub. That's the first night she's broken. And she literally had a room. Oh, God, my nose starting to itch. And in and out the window along the door. She literally ripped that thing off the wall. It was climbing in through the hole. And so I went and put it all back together. Went to be in. She went out. And for all week, the dog that's how it was. She's not a small dog. She got stuck finally. So I finally had to just shut the window, said, okay, I'm done. And so it's like, I guess you're mine for a while. And I mean, she never comes over here. Then it got to where for a solid week, I'd walk out and I would have 5 lizards on my front porch, 3 or 4 lizards on the back porch. It was like lizard mania. I was like, And then every time I would get in the car, go somewhere, or step out my backyard, I'd be seeing deer. So I guess dogs, deer, and lizards are mine. That's what someone told me. They's like, what Lucky Charm are you wearing? And you need to go play the lotto. It's like crazy. Oh, and I got to show y'all this. You're going to love this shirt. And how we're always saying about this shirt. Check out this shirt. Let's see if you can. Oh, that's where it is. It says, not my monkey, not my circus. And it's literally a monkey saying, not my monkey, not my circus. I love this shirt. Went to a restaurant because it had the shirt. That's the only reason I went to the restaurant. And can't stand food at the restaurant, but I bought the shirt. Okay, I'll put you back here because that way I don't be bopping y'all around. But so that's been my we'll do this. So that's been my week this week. I mean, it's been pretty awesome, guys. I mean, how often do you win? So I can put you this way. There. How often? Stay. I mean, yeah, it's how often do you win 3 things in 3 days, and 2 of them were like, I ain't gonna win that because you won it so much. I ain't gonna win that. And when I got that pin, I can't wait. Cannot wait. My daughter was like, Mom, you need a pin, like you need a hole in the head. Because what I was doing for a while when I was buying my 9 zillion Zacks, I got about 70 Zacks back there in my craft room. And what I would do, I'd got, 1 or 2 pictures, and then I would be, especially if it was just one, and I would need just enough so I wouldn't have to pay shipping. I would buy a pin or two. So I've got just about, I don't know, 7 or 8 DAC pins, and then accidentally bought a double one. So I gave it to my daughter. So she was like, yeah, you need a pin, like you need a hole in the head. And I said, no, you don't understand. I need that pin. The pin's talking to me. I need that pin. And then she was like, well, because she's like me. Most time these weekly giveaways for stuff until you get to the grand prize really aren't that much. And I said, no, you don't understand. You don't know Nick. She'll give you the house, man. I said, this is awesome. It was like I had never been so happy. And I wasn't planning on going live today. It's just that it's hotter in places, so I don't want to go outside. It gone from being 70 and rainy last week to it's, I think right now, 89, 90 with like 90% humidity on our weather. When they put the weather up for the day, it's got this ugly tongue going for awful. And I'm like, when did they start doing that? I told my kid, I said, y'all just not right. And you got to have that. Oh, don't worry. I finally went to Tower because it's what, 13, 12, 11, somewhere in there. And I don't go back to full internet until 24th. So I just put it on Tower to start with because otherwise I'll be dropping in and out. But I did notice that if anyone has Paramount Plus, Lost City is on Paramount Plus. So you get to see Harry Potter as an adult, some Channing Tatum. Um, it is a funny movie. I need to find out what's up with mine because my ring on the front yard and my ring on the backyard have both lost their connection to the router, which means I got to figure out how to reconnect them to the router. It's like, really? Like, ugh. And then I got up and I noticed that the VA had called because when I was in there on Monday to get my last shingle shot, which anyone gets a shingle shot, I'm telling you, that second shot, it's on like Donkey Kong. You're going to hurt for a few days. And when I was in there, I happened to say, look, I'm not looking. Yeah. See, I got the technical issues. I mean, I was surprised I had all the good luck during the retrograde, but I got that shot and it causes where it's like my fibromyalgia went into like 110 overdrive. I mean, I couldn't touch anything and it got in my hip. I mean, I couldn't hardly sit because when we was going down to that fry, I was in the back seat. And my daughter, I said, you drive like a crazy person. And when you're in that back seat, I said, it's a miracle Alexis is still alive. There's a couple times I come off the seat like 6 inches in the air and slammed down. So my hip was like killing me. So I was just like, this is miserable. And it's hot. I can't stand. I mean, I put on shoes and went down and dropped off my trash, picked up my mail, and I was like, I'm back in the house. Because it is miserable. My clothes, the minute you open the door, your clothes are just stuck to you. The first shingle shot didn't affect me at all. But I don't want shingles. I don't ever want shingles. And the shingles vaccine will make it where you won't get them. I had the first day from the shingle shot, I got with the second one. I got a little bit of chills and just aching. And in the middle of the night, I woke up with a headache, just took some stuff for the headache, and I was fine. And then it tells you it'll get in your joint, make your joints sore and all that. And I'm on day 3 right now, and it's just getting over the joint soreness. So me and Motrin, I know, but the shingle shot was, I mean, I won't get a COVID booster, but I got that shingle shot. I've been trying to get it for years. I mean, ever since I hit 55, because I just did not want shingles, and I've had chicken pox. Because the way Dr. Priaga expressed it to us, because when I worked in cath lab, I mean, it was like a very small setting with, these crazy ass doctors, which I found out one left, another one's leaving. I was like, man, y'all, I'm glad I left because y'all going crazy over there. But the way he explained it, and the man is brilliant. He is brilliant because he explained how COVID came about. And he said this was not a regular transference. And I didn't, you sit and listen to him, and it's very interesting. Like, I did not understand about HIV. You know how they tried to play it off about the monkeys? Yeah, because what it is it'll block that to where you don't get it anymore. But the way he explained it, like with HIV, you know how for years everyone's like, oh, it's monkeys and people scream monkeys, and he said no. He said he said people do not realize it and they just take what they read. He said, but you go do your research and you really research it. He said HIV was made during the Holocaust. He said they were playing with what new viruses they could make, what they could come up with, and he said that is where HIV originated from, was during the Holocaust when they were doing all the experimentation. And he said COVID. He said the coronavirus would not make a jump from a bat that was 1,000 miles away to a snake to people in less than a week. He said it just doesn't happen. Yep, he said it just does not happen. He said this was made in a lab. He said that it just can't make those jumps. He said those are jumps that occur over time. He said, you know, it may have made it eventually, but it wouldn't be to what it is. He said, but it takes years. He said it takes, 50 years for it to make those crosses because it has to do it slowly. He said they don't just go whoop whoop in there. He said this was put together and then it got loose. And they put it together and it got loose and they don't have nothing to stop it. And now it's out there. It's like opening Pandora's box. And once you find some way to knock down one, another variation comes up. It's crazy. I mean, but it was so neat listening to him because he was talking about shingles one day. And he said, it was like, let me see, 3 nurses that worked in there, 4 techs, and then you're always in there up in doctors' faces. And our working space was like 3 feet wide by 7 feet long. And it's like, man, when people get sick in here, it's just everyone's sick. But he was like, who's had chicken pox? He said, if you've never had chicken pox as a child, you don't need to worry about it. He said, because what happens is as a child, when you get chicken pox and then you get over it, he said the virus will actually go and sit in your spinal column and hibernate. He said, and then when you hit 55, it'll come back out. And it comes out along those nerve tracks that come off your spine. And that's why you always see it where it comes from wraps around your waist or up around your rib cage, or it'll follow your dermatomes that come off your spinal tract. And that's why he kept telling you he was too young, because usually you don't get it until you're up in your 50s. It'll pop out. And it's like, I don't want it. I've seen patients with it. They are absolutely miserable. There's nothing they can take for it to just say, hey, take this and it's gone. It's a thing that takes months, sometimes 2 or 3 months to get over. It's very, very painful. Yeah. I was like, oh, and he said, well, if you don't want it, he said, you need to go get vaccinated for it. And so I've been trying. And when I was on regular, you pay for this insurance, and I'd go try to get it, and they'd say, well, $200 for your deductible. I was like, what, $200 for, and it's a 2-shot series. I was like, see, I got to pay $400 plus the insurance. Well, whenever they dump me and the VA picked me up, I sit in the chair and she goes, oh, you're over 55. Would you like the shingle shot? And I was like, yep. She said, throw out your arm. I was just like, well, I'll be damned. I've been trying to get this for six years. And all I have to do is sit in your chair and poof, had it. It's amazing. Yeah, you can do both. And you'll probably just get a double whammy of, you're going to feel like crap from either one of them. But it's like you take the first one. It's kind of like the hepatitis vaccine. You take the first one and you wait 3 to 5 months to take the second one. But I know I will never do another vaccine because I don't know if you all can see it. Right here, this knuckle, it's like double the size of any other knuckle on my hand, and it's right here. And then one on the finger. And the COVID inflammatory indicators that it throws off, hit that knuckle and that knuckle. And there's days I can't even close my hand. I can't put that knuckle down because just touching the knuckle hurts. And it came from getting the second COVID vaccine. So it's like, booster? No, not doing it. Doesn't stop you from getting COVID anyway. If you're going to get it, you get it. I mean, it's just doesn't stop it. How can you stop it when it keeps? I mean, every time I turn around, it's a different strain, and it's like right now we hit 1,500 people in the state already, and it was one day. I'm serious. Yeah, I mean, it's you get miserable, miserable. The only reason I took it, honest to God, I didn't take it until Delta came out, and all it took was one weekend of working the COVID floor while Delta was out, and it was like, okay, the vaccine scares me. I mean, because if you really research it and watch, there's a couple of doctors on YouTube, and you really watch it and watch them, you get the down and skivvy. Yeah, it's out again. It just hit our state again. We've already got 1,500 that got it, and so many on the ventilator. And I mean, it just started back up because whatever was in China last month is hitting over here in the States this month, and each new one's more contagious than the last one. So it's just like, and of course, my daughter was just like, well, us Americans ain't going to shut down. We ain't going to stay home. We ain't going to. I was like, yeah, you do you. I said, when it gets really bad, I'll just stay in my house. I'll talk to you on the phone. I'm not going to go run around town and be all up in it. I said, because these people's crazy. But yeah, it's like people don't understand. But there's two doctors on YouTube that, yeah, I won't do the boosters. I wasn't going to do any of them, literally, because that's how much the vaccine scared me. There is not enough, because some of the stuff they're finding out that's coming from the vaccines now is scary as hell. It is really scary as hell. A lot of the younger girls that have been getting the vaccines are having longer and longer menstrual cycles. It's affecting their menstrual cycles. A lot more miscarriages, because you think about this, it's supposed to break those little bond, the spikes. Well, in your uterus, that's what holds the baby, is the spikes. So if you're breaking spikes, you're breaking spikes. And it's like no one knows what this is going to do to you, because think about it. We know what's going to happen from other vaccines because it's had years and years and years and years and years of research that has gone into it. We're a year out on our research, and they're like, oh, we're finding this out from the vaccine now, and we're finding, yeah, because y'all sit there and made this cookie up and was like, yeah, just start slapping it into people. So I didn't want to have nothing to do with that thing. And the only reason I did, sinus problem, my allergies have never been like they are now. I get a lot of headaches, bad allergies, to where I had to take my contacts out for 2 days. The only reason I put them back in last night was because trying to diamond paint with trifocals was really interesting. I was sitting here doing this, trying to see out of the right place. So, I mean, I just don't trust them. There's not been enough time to research them. I mean, you think about it, all that stuff they gave the moms back in the 60s to take care of the nausea and all that. And then now they're finding out a lot of the birth problems, and, a lot of miscarriages and deformities have come from those meds, because they make something and they don't know what it's going to do to you, and they don't really follow it, and they don't care. So the only reason I got the shots is I worked on that Delta floor, and I was like, I'm okay, here's this. I was like this. I said, shot scares me to hell. I said, this Delta terrifies me. It was like a little, and I said, the Delta actually scares me a little more than shot. And it's like, yeah, it's crazy. And people, I'm telling you, people lie. People lie. People lie. I don't trust that TV more than I trust anything, because they just spew out what the government is trying to push. They don't want it going. They make the media come up with how bad it is. they want it to be done, they make the media say how good it is. And you only get what they want you to hear. It's I don't trust them. I have no trust, especially having been in the medical profession. No trust, none. Yeah, it's like that's just like all last week, and it really made me depressed. I fought so hard to get long-term disability, finally up and active, and then for a whole week they're calling me and they're like, "Well, we can retrain you to work at at a lesser label, not as a nurse." And I'm thinking, okay. I said, I told that woman on the phone, I said, "I don't know when you thought I was born or how stupid I am." I said, "But you can feed me all the BS you want on this phone telling me you're not going to have to do this and you're not going to have to do that and your job would entail this." And I said, "And the minute I get in that seat and you're done with me, that job is going to have me doing whatever the hell they want me to, whether I should be doing it or not." I said, "I can't be doing all the twisting that you would have to do to bend over and get in your drawers." And I said, "Me and computers, I can run YouTube on my phone, but I cannot do it on a computer at all." And so it was just like, no. I said, "No." And I said, "Well, we're going to send this to your surgeon and see if she'll release you to do light duty." And my surgeon actually called me and she said, "Girl, are you trying to go back to work?" And I was like, "Oh, hell no. No, 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 no." She goes, "Well, I got this thing wanting to know if you could be released to doing light duty." And she goes, "I don't know what kind of light duty they're going to give you because there ain't no light duty you can do." And I said, "No, just tell them no." So she actually put it on paper that I was to do nothing more strenuous than get dressed. And that was it. And so these people are on the phone with me and they go, "Well, we're sending something to your doctor." And I was like, "No, I cannot work. If I can't fill my dog's water dish and I can't mow my yard, I don't need to be working." And he goes, "Oh, wait a minute. I see your doctor answered us." "Oh, she said you can't do nothing more than get dressed." And I was like, "Yep, that's about it." And yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy as hell. Okay. And then it's so funny. The long-term disability people hired this company that's supposed to help push your Social Security disability through. It like does all the background work. And I told these people when they gave them to me, I said, "Look, I already filed. It's above 50% complete now. You'll just need to start pushing it." I said, "But it's done." And I kept getting these emails from them saying, "You need to fill out this, and you need to fill out this, and you need to fill out this, and you need to fill out this." And I would try to open it in the computer and it would not do anything. It would just, I could not get nowhere. I was probably take my computer. And actually, I told a lady I did this, but I really didn't, guys. Computer's done. I just don't use it. But I've actually told her I got so frustrated, I threw it out in the backyard and it's in pieces. And she goes, "Oh, that means we can't really put you with a computer-based job." And I said, "It would not be a good idea." I said, "Me and computers, I said, I type using two fingers. My two pointer fingers are my typing fingers, and that's it." I said, "So I can't type. The computer just frustrates me to hell. So that is not a job for me." I was like, "You want me to smile, be pretty, and whether I feel like it or not?" I said, "I can do that. I was a nurse." But I said, computer, no." He was like, "And no. That's the only reason I can make videos is I got 3 apps that when I did the YouTube schools on a YouTube channel, it said, get these 3 apps." And that's what I have. One intros, extras, and the other one puts them all together. And if I didn't have those, I wouldn't be able to put stuff out. Because that's y'all get the raw and skibby. If like the other day when I was doing that ceremony video and it didn't, I can't trim, I can't piecemeal. But it was like, no. It was like, and I said, "What planet do you guys born on?" I said, "I have not worked a day since September. I have gone through all of my savings. You finally give me one check and you're trying to get me to go back to work for, $10 an hour, which would be less than what my check is. And then I would lose where I'm at on my Social Security disability claim. Because if you go back to work, you don't need that." I said, I said, "You think I'm stupid?" But when they called me yesterday and said, "Oh, well, you got to sit here and talk to our people and fill out this disability claim." And I went off, people. I'm usually I didn't go off at the restaurant. That would have been a go off factor. And this poor lady, I was like, what planet are y'all from? And what are y'all smoking? I said, I've told 4 people that I started the claim. I did it on my own. Me and my daughter spent 5 hours trying to fill out that application. I said, I sent you the copies to say this application was completed and electronically sent on this day. I said, I am not filling that application out again. She goes, well, then we need some info. I said, look, I signed releases. Whatever you need, you can go to my doctor's and you can get whatever you want. Plus, I sent you copies of everything. I spent like $30 shipping stuff to you. And there's only 2 new papers, and you can just get a hold of them and they'll send them to you. I promise. I was like, but I'm not doing it. I said I've done it for the FMLA, and then I did it for the long term, and then I did it for the SSID. I said, I'm done. And she was like, oh. She goes, can we call you like on this day? I said, call after 2. I said, because I stay up all night and I sleep till 2. She just didn't believe that one. But I was like, she goes, we just want to ask you 3 questions. Can they ask you 3 questions? I was like, yeah. I said, and I am so sorry I went off on you. I said, but I'm done. And she was, I understand. I was just like, I felt bad, but it was like every day, we'll get you back to work. We'll get you back to work. And then right now, I think the doctor's going to see me again because, believe it or not, guys, it's 6 months out. I've worn that dang abdominal binder 24 hours a day, even to sleep. Only had it off to take a bath, and I think it's failing. It's got an area that's getting like the little bubble factor, and it hurts all the time. So I think it's trying to fail again, because when I woke up from the surgery, the surgeon told me, she goes, you will have this for the rest of your life. You're going to have multiple surgeries. I can't guarantee how long this will last. She goes, it may last a week, it may last a year, but it's not going to be permanent. So I think it's already trying to fail. And so I just told him, I said, you know what? I don't want to have surgery right now. I said, I'm not pointing this out to you to have surgery right now. I said, but I've had 3 surgeries in a year and a half. It's like every 6-month period. I said, I just want it documented. I want it documented so that you guys can keep a track of new doctor, new documentation. But I mean, they make it a nightmare. I mean, a literal nightmare. I mean, my girlfriend who was with me, the one who said I was talking to Jesus, and I said, I don't think I was talking to Jesus, but I wasn't going any damn where. Because my best friend was my nurse for the initial procedure that started all this. And she said, and the doctor's an a-hole. He thinks everyone's being over-sedated because he thinks, or over-drugged, and everything's over. You gave too much med. And so she said, you looked at me and you said, Denva, something's wrong. Something's really wrong. You went out and your pressure went to 40. And she goes, and then you're laying there and you'll pop up. And she goes, and you were just, she was just like, nope, not. And so finally, Dr. Prayaga said, who's she talking to? And so she asked me, Cindy, who are you talking to? And I looked at her straight in the face and said, I'm talking to the man standing next to you, dressed in white. And she went, what man? I said, he's standing right next to you. And she goes, well, what's he saying? I said, he says, I have to go with him. And I was telling him I wasn't going nowhere with him. I guess I make a bad person for the people that come get you when you're dying. And I make a bad patient. And because I was just not going with you. And I was just like, not going. So here I am with the blood pressure in the 40s, trying to die, bleeding out, telling whoever came to get me and take me somewhere that I wasn't going. And I mean, literally, wasn't going. So now, and of course, this doctor, and I worked with him for years, he's a Hindu priest. And so when she says that I said this, and then he starts shitting his gourd. And I really wouldn't be here today, except for I had called a girl to come, and she was like 8.5 months pregnant, poor girl. And I had called her and said, we want to use your stent. Can you be there with your stent? And she was like, yeah, I'll be there for you, Cindy. And so she was there. And when that happened, she flew her little body to the door and she said, I have coils in my trunk. I'll be right back. And so she ran holding her big old belly all the way to her car, grabbed the coils, came back, because where he where he perked the artery, it's an artery that's in the back of your stomach. Well, he's working in my leg. How he got to this artery in my stomach, I don't know. But and if you, it's the inferior epigastric artery is what he has perked his way through. And I mean, you bleed, you will bleed out in a matter of minutes. It's a 2% survival rate. You better be on table and you better have coils because otherwise you're going to die because there's no way to shut it down. It's not one you can hold pressure on and stop. And so she went and got the coils in a little bitty micro wire. And so he went in with the micro wire and about 4 coils and got it to like stop bleeding about 98% of the way. So I'm still bleeding a little, but at least shut it down. And I was like 20 pounds lighter then because, you know, it was before all the, you can't do this, you can't do that stuff. And so here I am. I mean, I'm thin, but I look like I'm 9 months pregnant. That's all the blood that should be in my arteries that are now in my abdomen. And so he looked at my friend and said, ask her what the man is saying now. And I told her, I said, he's gone, but I think I'm still supposed to go. And she's like, nope, 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 you're not going nowhere. And they put me over in the seat. And I mean, she was the one that was like, no, we're CT and we're CT and we're CT. I mean, if it wasn't for her and her that had the wire, I wouldn't be here because she was an advocate and telling him, no, it's not drugs. This, we got a problem. And the other girl had the stuff to help stop it. And so when they took me back over there, they found that it still was bleeding a little. And that's when they threw me on that $43,000 helicopter ride. And so I told her that I thought I was still supposed to go, but the man was gone. Well, the next morning when they took me to the operating table to get the clots and everything out was when I did die. In the mirror, it's why I'm here. I don't know, because I went into a rhythm that it looks like you have a heart rate. If you look at the little bleep, 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 bleep thing, but you don't got a pulse and you don't have a heart rate. And so most people don't come back from that. And I did, which is amazing. But it was just like, yeah, it was my boss that I was working for a time. He said, you can have no procedures here anymore. He said, you go to talking to people in white, the day goes to shit. No one works. He said, everybody was in your room. He said, the doctors were done for the day. He said, no, you can't have anything done here. And I said, well, you know what? I ain't having nothing done nowhere unless I have to. But it's like the fact that I was talking, and I don't know who, I mean, I don't know who it was. I mean, I really don't know who it was, but I told her it was a guy dressed in white, you know, and he was telling me I had to go. And this one doctor was telling me it was the angel of death coming to get me. And he hopped in his little car and drove to Little Rock and kept asking me about angels when I got there. And it was just like, but I remember that he shot that die and hit that, and it was a god awful burning sensation. Went all the way to my head, and I turned around to her and went, something is wrong, something's really wrong. And then she said my blood pressure went to 40. So it was like god awful. And then you have the memories and you have the knowledge to back it up. So yeah, and if it wasn't for the nurse, I'd be dead. The nurse and my friend. And the doctor even told me when I went back to work, he said, if Carrie had not been here with that micro wire and those coils, he said, I hate to tell you this, but you would not be alive. He said, because we did not have anything to shut that down. He said, she's the only reason you're here. And I mean, she came and saw me when I first woke up from being on the ventilator, and I just hugged her and cried and said, thank you. And she goes, I'm just glad I was there and had them. After that, our department had to start carrying coils, at least 3. But we didn't have them. That never happened. I was a first. But yeah. Healthcare is scary, people. And I will tell you, when you go see your doctor, when you go to see your doctor and you think, oh, they're listening to everything I say, no. You make sure you be like, Dr. So-and-so, please look at me. And make them have eye contact with you when you're telling them what's wrong. Or because I'm telling you, if they aren't looking at you in the eye, listening to what you're saying, they're in their own head. It's kind of like for you mothers that have kids, and your kids, like, you're doing something in there, like right there at your heels, and just and you can hear them, but you're not focused on them. And if they actually said, Mom, what did I say? You'd be like, but you sit there nodded, yeah, yeah, or no, no. Well, that's how doctors are. And so if they're not looking you in the eyes, guy, they are not really listening to what you say. They're going to give you what they think you need without having really listened to what you're saying. And I know someone that I told him to throw that medicine out his window because that's not what he needed. He goes, well, it's my doctor gave it to me. And I was like, I'm telling you, your doctor did not listen to a word you said. You take that again, you're going to die. Because all he needed was a new prescription for his med because he hadn't been taking it because he was out of it. And his doctor just saw these blood sugar numbers that were high and knew that he was supposed to be on that med. And so he gave him that med and then added a new one to it. Yeah. You need to see your doctor. And even if you do a video call, make sure they're looking at you. And make sure they're not just, looking at their computer and whatever. Because I'm telling you, it is, they, they don't listen. But that guy actually doubled that guy's blood pressure medicine because, blood pressure or blood sugar medicine because his blood sugar is still up and he was he's been on this. Well, yeah, he's been on it, but he hadn't taken it because he was out of it. And so he was a truck driver. He gets out there, he's driving truck, taking the medicine because the doctor told him to. And he called me up and he said, something's wrong. I don't feel good. I said, pull over, take your blood sugar. His blood sugar was 40. I said, first thing, take that new medicine he prescribed, throw it out your window, let trucks run over it. I said, because you don't need that. All you needed. Yeah. I mean, it's crazy. Oh, you want to get your doctor's attention? Because I was a big bad girl. I could suck it up, put it in that box, put a lid on it, not deal with it. I did that for a long time, guys. And then when all this stuff, it was just like bam, 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 my box blew up. The lid of my box blew off. And it was like the last time I worked because I was working. I had a almost 20-pound hernia hanging off my head. I'm having to carry it like a little baby. And they're trying to like have me take 7, 8 patients. And I was just like in tears, told my boss, I said, I'll try to make it the rest of the day, but I don't know. I'm hurt. Said I'm hurting more than half my patients. And that was the last day I ever worked. Last day. I called my doctor. I sit here and I came home and I medicated myself because I was on antidepressants and I doubled. I added more and I made an appointment. And when I got there, I told him, I said, well, I've been going home and I cry all the time. You look at me funny, I cry. I open the door, I cry. I said, all I can do is cry. I said, so I added this. And he looked at me. He said, well, I'm adding this. He says, you are not on enough. And he said, how are you doing? And I started bawling and I was like, I'm broken. I don't know. I'm broken. I'm not I'm broke. That was when he put me off work until I saw the surgeon. But I did. You go in there and tell him you are broken. You physically, I said, I can't do it no more. No more big girl panties. They're gone. I'm broken. It's just like, you want to know what they do? Their eyeballs are like right there going, what? And like when I got to the VA, they were like, the first things they said to me was, you want a shingle shot? We're going to have you see a psychiatrist to manage your meds. We're going to have you see a therapist. Because and I'm not looking, because basically all of y'all know I'm going to be doing shadow work like crazy. And I'm not looking, I told them, I said, we call it shadow work. They're calling it, when I saw the psychiatrist, he was like, you're not crazy. Because I asked him, I said, am I crazy? He said, you are not crazy. He said, but in the last 3.5 years, you have dealt with more trauma than someone should have to deal with in a life. And you've never been able to deal with one of them, much less they just keep bouncing. And so he was like, we're going to have to sit you down and they're going to have to pull each one of those out and work with it until it doesn't trigger you no more, and then work through the next one. And then what it did is it just brought everything up. I have nightmares from the video when I was married to my first husband. And that airplane blew up in Nova Scotia. Y'all who live up there, you'll remember it. It was the Air Force tanker that blew up right across the border from Maine over Nova Scotia when it was coming in the land. Well, these were people that we basically lived with. I mean, these were our best friends. We partied with them. The cruise up there, and it was back when you had SAC. They would live together for a week, and then your wife and kids would come up, and so everyone's wife and kids were there. You would, make dinners, everyone go hang out to their own room, and then for a week you'd get to go home, and then for the next week, so everybody knew everybody, and it was like this. And I remember getting woke up by the bed shaking. It was just a loud, hellacious boom. I sat straight up in bed and went, oh my God, they're all dead. And we didn't even know what happened. I just sat up and I knew it. I went, oh my God, they're all dead. And my ex-husband was like, what are you talking about? And then he got the phone call that the plane had blown up like 10 miles out. And these were our friends people. These were people we had just partied with the weekend before. And so he got sent to go take a video, camcorder and do the video recovery of the pieces of his friends that he had just been with and worked with. Well, it was affecting him so bad that I thought he was going to have a mental breakdown. So when he did the video editing, I sat with him. And the biggest part they recovered was Colonel Northcutt, and it was his hand with his wedding band, and then his name badge and that little bit of his torso. And that was the biggest part of anyone they recovered. So I had nightmares over that all the time. A lot of my, the way I am, I don't think that I have to have the best house or the best car. And, a lot of people are like, I got to have the best. I got to have the best. So they're always working. They're always working overtime. They have no life because they're working. Well, the boom operator on that, and we lived in these horseshoe houses. It was like you'd come down and go around, come up, and then go across, and then it just did this all the way down. Well, I lived right here on this, let me see, right here on this side, and she lived up here. And I remember the chaplain was sitting on her front porch. Yeah, major PTSD. And I put that in a little box and nailed it shut. And then when all this happened, everything blew out of the box. But I can remember that chaplain sitting on her front porch, and she came home. And I remember this woman melting down, yelling at the top of her lungs because she was working like double time, all time, And she says, we never got to see each other because we were all working. So we were working so much to pay everything off so that we would have time together later. And we have no time because he's gone. And so I remember that. So I always go for stuff with the kids, or, if it comes down to doing stuff with the kids or cleaning the house so it looks spotless, stuff with the kids. If it comes down to 4 wheels and it runs, or go buy another car where you can't, pay for it, 4 wheels and it runs. So yeah, they just started my therapy. It starts Friday, but I got all the way from that to all this that occurred in that box. So my shadow work is going to be, and of course we're in retrograde where you do your shadow work. I can't imagine what it's going to be like, because he's going to be pulling all these little things out of the box, and we're going to have to deal with them where I've never dealt with them. I stuffed them in a little box, nailed shut the thing, and just kind of forgot about them, and did okay. And then went through all that and went through like the pool on the side of the yard. That's it. I have my DAC addiction and my uniquely yours addiction. Kind of got them both going on now. And it's like, that's it. I don't have to have the best furniture. My dogs, my grandkids, my kids, and I'm happy. And I keep trying to tell someone now, I said, you don't need to keep buying new cars. I said, get a car, pay it off, and be happy. Get to know your grandkids. Get a life. See, I had them stuffed down so tight, never dealt with them. And then even before the husband shooting at the kids, he had built the pool on the side of a hill. We did all this. And then he caught a bad cold. Well, that cold wiped out his heart. He went from being big, bad, burly, did our parking area by going down to the creek, grabbing rock with a 5-gallon bucket, to doing the whole parking area to where he couldn't even walk out the bedroom door without breathing, and literally found out that he had had a cold. The cold virus got into his heart and wiped out his heart function, where he had 10% heart function. You do not want, it's bad, because when someone goes from being, a heavy hitter, hard worker, to where they can't even walk across the room, their anger is so deep. And I mean, I can understand it now because I'm dealing with it. But his anger was he was just mad at everything, 10%. I mean, he literally had no heart function. And I fought for the man, because there is a medication. It's only been out for a few years that will actually rebuild your heart function. And it had just come out. I did a lot of research on it, but that's not what they were wanting to give. And I just told this doctor, I said, no, I want him on this. And he said, well, I've never given that before. I said, I'm telling you, I want him on this. Yes, we are divorced. But last time I talked to him, his heart function was up to like 40%. So yeah, he still can't go out there, and rebuild a whole rock thing, but he can go out and at least function now. Because 10% is not much. I was afraid he was going to fall over dead just by walking across the room, because it would just wipe him out so much. Yeah, it's called Entresto. And they were really pushing it on commercials for a while there. And it's for people who have myopathy and CHF and all, but literally it took him from 10% to about 40. And when you're at full percent, you're at 65. And of course, being a cardiac nurse, his doctors would say, come look at this. And I looked at it, and it was the LV shot. I just started crying. I was just like, this is awful. I was like, this is awful. With my dad, how he's alive, I don't know, because I kept telling him, I said, something's wrong, and it's your heart. And of course, he always, no one knows anything but the doctor. And then he was coming home from Conway or Little Rock, and my sister had told my mom about how some guy had walked out of the church and just fell over dead. And my dad was complaining, saying, I'm having some chest pain kind of thing. And so she made him go to the Conway hospital. And I called him and said, keep him overnight. Do not let him go home. I said, this man don't listen word nothing. And the heart cath in the morning. And his doctor called me in there, and he said, all right. He said, I know you know what you're looking at. What do you see? And it was just like every artery in his heart had blockage in 2 or 3 places, actually. And I was like, oh my God, there. He said, yeah. He says, with what you do, those are your money shots. He said, because you would put 2 or 3 stents in that artery. Yeah, I can't. So I think walking in like the hospital to work, my PTS kicks in so bad, I go into a full-blown panic attack, because the thought of having that amount of responsibility and stress on me just wipes me out. My PTSD is that bad. And when I saw a psychiatrist, I said, am I crazy? Because I told him, I said, I'm pretty sure I got bad depression. I said, I'm starting to have some anxiety panic attacks. I said, and I'm pretty sure I have PTSD. And when I asked him that, he said, honey, he says, your diagnosis is spot on. He said, you have severe depression. He said, you're getting anxiety attacks. And he said, you have severe PTSD. He goes, I don't know how you worked. And I said, it got really bad, because I was like, I would cry going to work. I would cry coming home to work, because that amount of stress. My daughter was like, yeah, Mom, you don't need to work. Yeah, I mean, it was like, no. And then they told me, they said, oh, your long-term disability claim is good for 2 years, and then you'll have to be reevaluated to see if we'll still pay you. And that's why I told the VA, I said, y'all are going to track this. I said, because there is no way I need to go back to work. So between the PTSD, seeing a psychiatrist, and my guts trying to fall back out, I think I'm covered. And it was just a matter of, I want it documented. Because if it's not documented, you put the big girl paintings on, you don't go to the doctor, you just deal with it yourself. And then when something happens, they're like, well, you didn't see the doctor. It's like, Always get documentation. Whether you want to go to the doctor or not, get documentation. Because if you really need, the disability, or you need the long-term disability, or even short-term, they're not going to pay it unless you can document that you've been seeing a doctor and you got an issue. So if you just put your lid on your box and just keep shutting yeah. So yeah, with the shadow work, I'm kind of worried, because I mean, I know what the issues are, and I know I even just put the vision in my head. I start bawling and can't deal with it and shut it back in the box. And I'm going to have someone pick something out of the box, and we're going to tear it apart until it doesn't bother me no more. That's going to be really interesting. So I know it's coming, because my first appointment's this Friday. It's coming. Won't be crazy. I mean, because I just still remember my mom's face when we put her in the truck. And that was the reason we went to the hospital with her, and I finally come to the realization, I think she knew she was actively dying and was saying goodbye. But the look on her face scared me so bad. I looked at my daughter-in-law, said, "Go get my purse. We're going with them." I just did not expect that when we got there and I opened the door, she would be dead and I would be doing, a CPR. That's just it. It's like, so far, the front of my week, with winning the first week giveaways, and I don't know what's in y'all's boxes, and Nick's won't tell me. She said, "You're just gonna love it." I'm like, great. And then the opal pin, that was just like, oh my God. Because I told my daughter, I was like, "I'm not gonna win." She's like, "Oh, Mom, you might." I was like, "No." I said, "You ain't seen them wheels. There's like 88 people on it." And she was like, "You never know." And then I won both of them. I was just like blown away. Yeah, me and Nick have talked, and like I went to her for a lot of my research material, and she was like, "Yep, you need to get this book, this book, this book, this book, this book." So I have all them books. The only one I didn't buy was the. I was just ecstatic. I was just like bouncing up and down, and it was like I sat there, and I guess I felt kind of bad about doing it. But my daughter, like, there's some woman that the military, and I was like, I don't understand why they did this. Her husband's Army. They were, where they were stationed, been there a while. So she's got friends, she's got support. She's like this. They moved them to Arkansas and then shipped him to Kuwait for a year. So she had just had a baby. She is now in Arkansas, doesn't know anybody to help her. And so my daughter was like, "Do you have a village?" Because we always called it having a village, because we have friends and support for you when your husbands were gone. And she said that girl just started crying and said, "I have no village." And so my daughter was like, "It is stupid." I was like, "Why didn't they just leave her?" I said, "Thank God they left me at Loring for that year your dad was gone, because I still had, our squadron and our friends and people who would check on me." I said, "I can't imagine, you know, being stuffed on another base somewhere where you know nothing and then your husband's gone for a year." But my daughter told her, "I am your village." And so, was it Monday? I think it was Monday that we literally, yeah, Monday. She told that girl, "Bring the baby." Baby's like 4 or 5 months old. Bring the baby. And the little girl was sick. Her 4-year-old was sick. And so my daughter was like, "I'll take them. You go do you. You go get your nails done. You go get pedicure. You just go, go do what you want to do." Because, she was like, "I have no sleep. I have no me time. I nothing." So we had the two kids. She went and she goes, "And if you need someone to talk to, you need me some village support. So you have someone other than 4 to talk to, come over." And I looked at my daughter and I said, "I need a village. So I don't have a village." I said, and she goes, "Well, Mom, you live too far." And I said, "Yeah, but even when I come to your place to be with your village," I said, "I can't hardly get you to pay attention to me, because if I look at you, your kids are up in your face and your husband's up in your face. So that, it's like crazy." I said, so I need a village. I said, my village is YouTube. You guys are my village. You guys have kept my sanity together, literally. But it was like, I need a village. I said, we can be my village. Now my son, ever since I spent that week and a half on the ventilator and he didn't know if I was going to live or die, at least 2 to 3 times a week, he will call me and say, "Hey, mom, how you doing? Hey, mom, what you doing? Are you okay? What you?" I may not get him out here, but maybe once a month or 2 times a month, and he'll mow or just come visit. But he's like become he's like the awesome son. And so, and I remember he told me, he said, I told my boss, he said, when you were on that ventilator and we didn't know if he was ever going to wake up, because my daughter had literally told him that we might need to start looking at our choices of what she was. I sat there and I said that, and he popped up alive. But he literally told his boss, he says, I am not coming to work. I will be at the hospital with my mom until whatever happens one way or the other. He said, I'm not coming back. I'm not working until she either wakes up or we have to do the other. He said, but I'm not doing it. And, I got to put my phone on charger, guys. But he literally told his boss, he was like, not doing it, not happening. You guys can either give me is my mom. We have no idea if she's going to be here next week or not. And so we said, he went away. Spiders. I hallucinated the big key. It threw me. It went all the way back to nothing. I had to re-come all the way in. And it's crazy. For 2 days, they would come out of the clock, they'd cover the wall, they'd get on my sheets, they were like all over my bed. And of course, I have just ripped the ET tube out because couldn't breathe. And so I jack it like this, and I told my son, I was like, "Do you see any bugs?" And he was like, "Mugs," and I'm like, "Oh, not mugs, bugs." And he's like, "Pugs?" And I'm like, "No, not pugs, bugs." And then he finally was like, "Oh, bugs." And I was like, "Yeah." And he said, "No, there's no bugs." Yeah, it just dumped me out, and I couldn't get back in. I couldn't get StreamYard to even load. It was weird, but technical issues. But I literally made him sit there and hold my hand for 2 straight days until I quit seeing bugs. It was awful. Okay, yeah, and since it's just me and you, and I think there's one other person in here, and I've been here for an hour and 20 minutes, I might let my phone charge. But it's been great. Love talking to you, Michelle, and thank God you're on the mend. And maybe our technology be, yeah, he is awesome. I mean, because he'll call like every other day just to talk for 20 minutes, just to say, hi mom, how you doing? What's going on? So, and I mean, this wasn't a schedule like my schedules are Friday at 5. But I finally settled it down to Friday from 5 to 7 on Central Time. That way for the East Coast, it's 6. Jeremy, it'll be 3. It'll be like he'll be in there working and lurking. Yeah, it's like life is so strange. But you take care, make a wonderful dinner. I think I'm going to do just salad. It's hot. And love and blessings to you. And have a great evening and take care of yourself. Everybody, take care of yourselves. That's the number one thing, especially right now. You know, love, peace, harmony, all that good stuff. And I will see y'all later. Hopefully someone else will go live so I can pop in theirs. Just to see everybody. Talk to you later, Michelle. Love you. I think I'll stay on here till an hour and a half, and that way, if anyone pops in or out, see what's coming. Finish my coffee. I don't know what I'm watching. Got Jason Statham. I just watch stuff on YouTube. And then I found, oh, guys, audiobooks. Audiobooks. Oh, Lord. You can go and look up audiobooks on in the search, and it will literally pull up so many books. And I mean, some of them not well ones. The Wheel of Time is a 32-hour read. So you can sit there and listen to that book all week long. Love it, though. I finished the series. So I'm almost. That's so weird because it pulls me up first. But I almost. Oh, listen to the floor. It's like it's a 6-book series, and it's Magic Undercover. Really good. I think book 6 is a different couple. The first 5 were one couple, and then I don't know how she's doing it on Kind Master, but it's just yeah. Hey, Pommy. No problem. I'm just sitting here yapping, just to kill time because nothing going on, nothing doing. Trying to finish my canvas for the Phoenix and Fantasy, and then I have one that I think I'm gonna do. It's a budget one. I don't know if anyone's ever seen it, but it's the skull. It's a skull. It's got fangs, and it's all in black and grays. But it's almost like a vampire skull coming at you. So I thought that'd be pretty cool. So I might do that one just in between because I'm not going to start a new one. And then the 1st of June, I think I'm going to work on Artemisas and get her done because it's beautiful. Beautiful. And then, like I said, for my event in October, I bought the Lady of the Forest. And when I started doing all kinds of research on ladies and lords were what they called the gods and goddesses back in, the Greek and mythology time and all that. So if they say lady, they're actually saying goddess. So basically, that's the goddess of the forest. So I was like, well, then I'm just going to do her as my witchy one, as a goddess, because I love that picture, all the greens. And then I'm going to add some, and then I went and looked up, I did deep research on Artemisas and looked at all the pictures of Artemisas because she's like the goddess of the forest. She's the goddess of nature. She's the goddess of the hunt. If you really start researching her, it's not just Artemis. She's like a multifactual goddess. And then she's got her cohort which is Cynthia, which stands for Cynthia, which is the goddess of the moon. So I was like, that's the one I picked. Those are the ones I picked to work with, which really is kind of cool because one's my namesake and the other one's nature. Well, I'm smack dab in the middle of nature. I mean, yeah, me and nature's best friends. But I'm going to do her. And I went and researched all them pictures and I found that one picture of Artemisia and she has wings. And I may take and on the wings, try to add some like light browns and add those to it and kind of build to it. And guys, just on Facebook, just not in a group, but in Facebook, just go join the Let Your Goddess or Your Witch Goddess Free. And it can be a goddess, it can be a god, it can be a wizard, but start going in there and signing up for the event so that we'll know how many we got to come up with. So far, I've got NYX as a sponsor. I got DP with Sparkles as a sponsor. Amber is she's doing it with me. She's my co-host. And her son's doing some resin cover minders. I've got cover minders coming in that I'm making. I've got the little pieces coming in and I got the magnets and I'll make some cover minders and they're kind of in the witchy cat moon kind of cover minders. I've got some enchanted succulent wax and I've got me one and I'm trying it and I actually really like it. It's not sticky and I went ahead and added my little bit of Quake Hold and mixed it together and just really love it. So, and I'm gonna sit here and I'm gonna pop down and see if I can find NYX over on her page and get her in here. But she may be sleeping. And so maybe she'll pop in. I should never know. And I'm back. I'm back. And everyone that won a giveaway, the one I just paying it forward, just to be nice, and NYX's birthday present have all been shipped. NYX should get her present tomorrow. The other one will get theirs on Monday-ish. And then Elizabeth Lenny, you'll get yours, they said 2 weeks. So just trying to get some people in here. Trying to send some direct invites so I can get some people in here. Let me see. See if I can get Christopher in here. It's so hard. All right, sit one of those. Maybe I can get her in here for a little bit. And I'll be right back, guys. Because I really didn't go anywhere. I'm just sending out some lives. It's usually Jeremy will pop in here. I usually have more people pop in. It's such a weird time of the day. So, been an hour and a half, so I guess I'll pop out of here since Mommy left. Just getting her day started. And no one else is coming in. I wonder if I can get Jeremy. Let's see if I can get Jeremy. Jerry Bear. We'll see if we can get Jerry Bear. Hey, my StreamYard, I just use StreamYard, so sometimes it gets crazy. But I just sent out some invites to see if I can get someone to come in. Because I was told last time, you didn't invite anybody. If nothing else, I'll just do it. Do it. Nope, looks like nope. So we'll just leave it on in the background and maybe someone will pop in. And so, guys, after Friday afternoon, when I get home, I'll let you know how Friday goes because that's the shadow work stuff starting. So, oh, there you are. Hi, Pommy. So, starting shadow work on Friday. So I'll let y'all know how that goes because I'm gonna be, yeah, it might be one of them nights that you have a little drinky because I got a feeling I'm gonna be like emotionally scoured, scrunged, scrubbed. It's like Lord. Yeah, because usually, and unless it's just not notifying anyone, because usually, like Jeremy will pop in here and just say he's working and lurking, and it's like I got a dog on my feet, a dog over there in front of the fireplace that's not on because it's just too hot and killing you people, and the other one I think is hidden underneath my butt, underneath the couch because that's his new spot for some reason. Because they had a little bitty doggy meltdown because I had been gone for a couple days and they were in the back porch. And Saturday, guys, rock day, because it's been out there tumbling on part two and they're just tumbling away. And last week I went from 6 pounds of rocks. I had 2 3 pound tumblers of rocks to where when I did it, opened it up and cleaned them up and all that good stuff, it was one. We went down to one. So I don't know what's going to be in there now. It's amazing how you can go from Big Rock to Little Rock, and not my town, Little Rock. But you go from Big Rock to Little Rock, and then some of them are really looking cool, and it kept the little sparkles on there. And actually, I would love to go up to the crystal mine we got where they go in there and they mine crystals, the big quartz crystals, big ones that they sell, And then what they do is all the dirt that comes out, it's got all smaller crystals in it, and they just take it out to their field, and they just dump it out, and then you just dig around in that big pile, and you get to take whatever you find home. And I love crystals. I mean, they're like a downfall. They're like, pick me. That's just like, and I don't know if you know Pommy, but I won the black opal pin. I won it. It gets here, I think, tomorrow. I was just like blown away because that to me that is the most beautiful pin that I have ever seen. And I was like, it just, I don't know, it just connected with me. And so I put it in for it. And I was like, yeah, I'll never get it. And there was like 70 of us that put me pleases, and I got it. I was like amazed. I'm so ecstatic. I will do an unboxing video with it, but I was just, and that's one, I mean, I can't wait to get it in my hands. That is beautiful. And it's made with black opal and white opal. And it's got a little bit of blue opal in it. And I love opal. But it was just like, oh my God, I want it. And then I don't know if you follow Nyx, and she has the Phoenix and Fantasy. Well, when she gets weekly winnings, they are weekly winnings. And I won that thing. And there was 88. Because what the way they're doing, and it's going to be the way I do mine and Amber's, is they have the initial, put your initial canvas up with nothing on it in this week post. And then with that's the week post I won. And then she puts all the people who put a post, and she gives them a number, and then they do the 1 to 100. Yeah, it was awesome. I have never wanted a pin so bad in my life. I mean, it almost made me want to cry because I want to touch it that bad. It's gorgeous. And so I was like, okay. And I'll post a post of it on my Facebook. Yeah, because it's gorgeous. But I was like, okay, and what we're doing is like with the first week, like when you put your picture of, I want to join this event, here's my undone, kitted up picture. Okay. And then what they would do is give each one a number, and then that number went on the wheel. That's what I won this week. And I mean, it's like I won the little suitcases that hold 60 little, there it is. These, and it's beautiful. I hadn't seen that one before, but it's gorgeous. I won that. I won a $25 gift certificate. And it's a $25 gift certificate to Tmall. So I won that in Tmall. And then it's a mystery bundle from Michelle, a bunch of stuff together. And then Dynamite Diamonds, a bunch of stuff together. And then another place, a bunch of stuff together. So it's like, and I told her, and a DAC kit, one of Nyx's personal DAC kits that she's got in her living room, over there, where she says she's got all of them stacked up. And her taste and my taste are pretty much the same. And so one of those, so it's all that. So I mean, it's a couple $100 worth of winnings. And I told her, I said, well, I won't open each one as they come. I'll wait until I get them all, and I'll do a major unboxing video. And then when I get the pin, I'll do an unboxing video of it. But I was like, oh my God, I can't believe I won. I was making people think that I was getting chased by bugs. Because when I did my daughter, I was like, grabbed her arm and was like jumping up and down. It was like, I won the giveaway. I won the giveaway. That was for Nyx's. And then yesterday I'd gone over to check my dad, because yesterday was the actual date that my mom passed away. And I went over to check on him because I was kind of worried about him. And because I did all my balling and squalling last week. I didn't do it on Monday. I did it all last week. And so I went over there and I said, I just come over to check. I don't want you alone for a while, hanging out for a bit. And I was sitting there and I got the thing from Emily, and I was just like, oh my God. And I'm jumping up, and I almost fell off the deck because I was jumping and screaming and flipping. And he's like, what? He's looking for a wasp. Because that's how I usually act when there's a wasp around. And I mean, I couldn't believe it. Could not believe I won that pin. And then I turned around, and then last night in Rose and Jenny's, I won one of the stickers, the autism stickers. It was just like I'd won 3 wheel giveaways in 2 days. I was just like blown away. This is the person that sometimes I don't even enter because it's just like, yeah, right. Because I don't win that often. But it was just like, wow, I've been blown away. And I wish that when I was in that ceremony with my granddaughter that I put up, the CEO, the story, I wish I had recorded her story. She told her story because she had a handful of patches. And the way she told the story, it was the most amazing thing. This woman is like, there's 11 of them, 11 CEOs over Girl Scouts in the United States. And they each get, like she does Arkansas, a little bit of Oklahoma, a little bit of Texas. And then the one for Texas is so big, she just does Texas. Yes, very lucky. Very lucky. I was just like amazed. And then, but she was like, she says, these are not a badge. She goes, badges you earn by doing things. Patches are things that you're in at somewhere and you get to have the privilege of these patches. And she goes, and I brought a bunch of patches, but I want to tell you the story of each of these patches. And she has 3 boys, 4 boys. 3 are hers. She says, the 4th one I did not give birth to, but he's my boy. He's my stepson, and I love him just as much as the rest. But it's like, she goes, these patches signify something I taught my sons. So she goes, these patches are built on what my sons have come up with. And it was like, her name is Dawn. So in every patch, there is the dawn of a new day in the background. And she goes, I went to my first son and said, what did you learn from me? And he said, I learned to always be nice, to always be nice to people. Don't be a bully, be nice to people. You don't know what's going on in their world. You might be their saving grace. She goes, so that's what he said he learned. So they hired an artist and they built this patch, and it's got this little boy and he's handing something to someone, and because it's be nice. And so her second son, he said, you taught us to look in the mirror when we were brushing our teeth every day, to look in the mirror, and did we like that person in the mirror? He said, so that's what I learned from you, was look in the mirror every day and say, do I like that person in the mirror? What do I need to change to make it where I like that person in the mirror? And it has her little Dawn, and then it would have the little, and he's got a mirror. So it was like a little boy with a mirror and a Dawn. And then the next son, what was it he learned? But he learned to be nice. And his has a little girl in it. And so the other sons are like, we don't have little girls in ours, but his had a little girl. It was like, he said, I learned you can, no matter who you are, you can do it. If you want it, you do it. Everybody can do what they just do it. Kind of like YouTube. Hit the record button, do it. And so that was what he learned. And his was, picture of him and 2 friends in the dawn. And she goes, and then I ran out of boys. So she goes, then I did my sister. And she goes, and my sister, it was like, I learned from her that you always have someone you can look up to, look up to somebody. And I always looked up to my big sister. And so her patch had her, and it had a big girl and then a little girl, but she didn't like the way the little girl looked. And so the sister was like, I don't want 2 little girls on my patch. She goes, I want a girl and a dog. So it's a picture of a little girl, and she's patting it's like trying to think what they are. The ones you see out in the snow that have a little barrel under their neck, And so it looks like one of them. And so that's her patch. But that's what her stories were, was each child, what she had taught them that stayed with them all the way to adulthood. And because, like she said, my sons are 40, 39, 36, 32. The 4th son, the stepson, she goes, he was born he had to wear braces and be in a wheelchair. And so she goes, what he said he took away from me was the wheelchair and the braces were not him. That wasn't what signified him. He was more than just the wheelchair and the braces. And so his patch was like someone in a wheelchair and still being able to be out there doing everything. And she said, now he is an adult. Now he can walk. Now he's not in braces anymore, and he's not in a wheelchair because he did not see himself as being the wheelchair and braces. He pushed himself to be him, not the wheelchair and the braces. And it was like, man, I wish I'd hit record when she started and just recorded that because it was such an awesome message. I mean, it was a terrific, and it was terrific message for all these little girls. And then they had the seniors that had been Girl Scouts since they were daisies and were now graduating as cadets, and they're graduating high school. And it was their graduation ceremony. And it was like, and they're bawling and squalling, it's just like, oh my God, I'm gonna cry. I was like, wow. And then I've spent 2 nights on my daughter's couch, which is not very comfortable. And I think I'm just getting over it. Wow. My watch has made a really cool, I don't know if I can get it up there. Yeah, I know how to get it up there. Let me get it off and pull it up. But isn't that cool? That's what it decided it wanted to be. It just picked its own, I want to be. But it was really cool. And then she would, get in front of little girls and she goes, you have the control. You can be one of those girls. You can, she goes, one does arts and one does theater, one does, but they still, will go to their Girl Scout stuff and they're a Girl Scout. And I didn't realize it, but if you're a Girl Scout and you make it all the way through, they can give you a scholarship to college, which is kind of cool. And so, and then my daughter got her 5-year pin because when she was a kid, she was a Girl Scout for a while. And then now she's a leader. And so she got a 5-year pin where, she can put it on her little badge and it says 5 years. And it's kind of cool. It's very cool. And she got her 5-year pin from the CEO. So it was a very neat ceremony. So it was like the thing of you can be whatever you want to be. If you want to feel sorry for yourself and sit in a corner, you're going to sit over there and be miserable and sit in the corner. It's, everyone can be what they wanted. So, yeah. Right now I got 2 air conditioners because I think it's hitting almost 100 outside. And I'm not like Jeremy. Jeremy loves 100. That boy loves 100. Me, not so much. I don't like 100. 100 is not my jam. Not my jam. Ugh. But yeah, so we've talked healthcare, we've talked shadow work, we've talked, take control of yourself. Because, like I'm telling you, when I was on that table, if I had not fought back and said, no, I ain't going, I would have been gone. I was just as nasty to whoever was coming to get me and saying, no, I ain't going, go away. It's just like, oh. And I wish they had the spot on YouTube because, like, I would like to comment and just talk to Sherry one-on-one because I joined her channel back before she even changed her name to Purple Door. And they were giving her and she did a little more of her witchy stuff. That was when I joined her channel. And I don't know how to get to her witchy. She's got a YouTube that's for that part, and I don't know how to get to that because I would actually love it because I used to love her stuff with that. My hair is just so frizzy and humidity, and, and then there's all the drama that goes on in the community, and yeah, that's crazy. All the drama is crazy. Like when someone was picking on Rose and Jenny and Gracie because they had a night out, and I was just like, they weren't out riding the roads. They weren't, it was 3 girls having a night that really needed a night, and they were picked on for it. People are weird. They're mean. and they're hateful. And it's just like not right. I don't know why people want to be that way. And it's like, I've been trying to teach the boys that, don't be mean, don't be hateful, because you don't want it being done to you. And guys, we went Sunday, we fished at a pond, and they're catching fish. This catfish was this, let me see, where's this stupid? I'm trying to find the camera. There we go. Catfish was that long. That long. That is the tiny, it was like a 1 inch long catfish that someone caught on a hook. I was just like, that is the smallest catfish I have ever seen. Ever. So if anyone that catches this on replay, put hashtag replay. You might laugh along. Fridays, like I said, Fridays is always 5 to 7 Central, 6 to 8 Eastern, I think 4 to 6 Mountain, and 3 to 5 on the East Coast. But I'll be here every week. I'm trying to get it to where it's the same time, at least once a week, period. I'll probably do another one of my haids, because I'm almost done with that row. I'm going to move it over and do another row. I'm at 41%, guys. Y'all don't understand. 41% done. It's taken me a year and 4 months to get the 41%. Well, Palmy, I'm going to let you go. I'm going to pop off of here and set up over there, and I think I'll work on that for a little bit. I love y'all. I love talking to y'all. Maybe some more will start just get me on their notifications so that they see when I come live. Hit me up next time I pop on here, because I'm going to start doing like Diamond Queen. When I feel like talking to people, I'm just going to pop on and people come in if they don't. Or like Nick's did. We used to be her and five ferrets in a wall. But maybe people will just start popping every now and then. Let me see. I think that's it. And I think my little banner, I'm going to set it up where sometimes it'll be the Patreon, sometimes it'll be the Ko-Fi. But yeah, so for today, this is it. And I'll make a couple of videos and get them on to give you all something to see. I really did try, guys, because I think y'all would have loved it. I sent it to Rose, and she just thought it was the most cutest thing she'd ever seen. And I did put it on my Facebook. But the other day, when my daughter dropped my grandson off at school, and their band teacher plays music when they're being dropped, he was out there just doing the jam. I mean, he was literally out there for 5 minutes dancing to that music. This kid's 6 years old. It was the cutest thing I'd ever seen. And I tried and tried and tried to get where I could post that video to the end of a video to give you all where you can see it. I just can't get it. It won't do it. Will not do it. But it's so awesome. It's so cute. But peace, love, everyone be blessed, and I will see you another time. So I'm going to hop out of here. Palmy, you have a great day, and love y'all. Bye.